Imagine a world where the horizon is a far-away wall and the sky is a ceiling hidden by clouds. And all life, as you know it, resides in a castle so massive that entire oceans and mountain ranges fill its rooms. As an adventurer, you are driven by a personal calling to explore these strange roomlands and record your legend in a personal journal. But you are not alone. Rooks, hulking stone automatons, patrol the wilds, guarding the only magic this world knows. From the prehistoric jungles of the rafters to the twilight of the battlements, your journey is a search for secrets in a castle, one colossal room at a time. Hello, fellow dorks, and welcome back to Alone in the Dork. Okay, today we're taking on a little bit lighter fare than what I typically do, which is a nice palate cleanser. But today we're doing Colossal. This is by Nick Angel. Oh man, I'm so bad at names. I'm so sorry. He generously gave me this copy to review as well, which is super cool. He is the designer and an artist. He makes me angry with his talent. It's tough enough when someone's good at one thing, but when they're like really good at two things, it just really makes me mad. Now, what this game is at its heart, it is not incredibly complex. On the crunchy scale, which I typically save to the end of these reviews, but since we're building a character, let's just do it now. I'm gonna call it like a Rice Krispies. It's got a little bit of crackle in there, but it really kind of snaps well together once you figure out how everything works, and it really kind of pops with excitement. Oh man, I think I named all the stupid Keebler elves. Wait, they're not even Keebler elves. What are they? The Rice Krispie elves? Are they elves? I don't know. So basically, if you couldn't have told from my really good intro that I put together, you are in this world where the entire universe kind of fits inside this gigantic castle. So you're an adventurer exploring like endless rooms and corridors and forests and oceans and ruins. And all these like giant creatures are roaming around. Yeah, there's like gargoyles and stuff, but there's these things called rooks. And they are basically like the keepers of the magic of this world, but they're like part of the castle, and just they're these crazy structures that have like a heart in them that you're basically kind of harvesting. Now it's starting to sound like really mean. And then you can kind of use it to power yourself up. But this is a solo TTRPG, or a tabletop role-playing game. You create your own character, you explore this world, you generate it by drawing cards, and you kind of discover what's in the room beyond. There is also a little bit of map making that you can do, which I will be using an application to do that. So my map making should look okay. But nonetheless, you use these cards to generate your locations, your encounters, who you're fighting, your NPCs, all the other little rook puppies, basically, that can help you on your quest. And it's all part of this collaborative storytelling that you're telling with yourself. Let's jump into the game and see how it works. Look at this artwork. Gosh. Look at this. This is for Alice, I think he said. Is that right? Yeah, it's for Alice. Maybe this is a picture of Alice as well. I always like to acknowledge who the designer gives the shout out to, because it's, as an artist, performing artist myself, I appreciate those who support us, because it's quite the endeavor. So well on you, Alice. Man, this dude's just good with pictures. So this is a piece of a rook. When you destroy rooks, you can start like getting their like attachments and stuff. So that's how that person has that arm. What do we need to play? A pen or pencil? I don't need those because I'm on a computer. A notebook or sketch pad to keep up your journal. Did I even mention that freaking part? That this is a journaling game? I probably didn't, because I'm an idiot. I didn't really even fully get into the journal part of this game. It's up to you, like how deep you want to go into it. I do have some other playthroughs where I go pretty in depth with like my journaling. But in this one, I think I'm just going to kind of create the story. I don't think I'm going to go back and like what you're kind of supposed to do, which is like kind of like talk out your day, because in this medium that I'm currently playing, it just feels a little weird to kind of like write something out and then like read it for you. I think it falls a little bit flat with my current setup and how it works. So I think I'm just going to kind of spitball ideas of what's happening, and then we'll move on to the next prompt. But typically in the game, you journal it out after you get through your encounters, but I'm just going to kind of like make it up on the fly, and it'll be probably not great. So we'll also need a deck of playing cards and the character sheet. The playing cards will be on our upper right. I'm going to be using Roll20 to like just throw down some cards for us. So that's how that'll be working. I'll just flip the cards and we'll see what we have. Also, shout out to Roll20 as well. I have the like premier subscription to Roll20, which also gives me Dungeon Scrawl, which I will be using to be drawing my maps in the next videos. Let's keep going. Man, look at all this great artwork. Gosh. Here we go. So this is a rook. This big old nasty thing is a rook. And this little thing here is a rook as well. So like once you can like befriend them somehow. And it looks like she has rook knee pads. So our character basically has 4 like attributes, for lack of a better word, but they have a calling, a nature, a class, and a weapon. I don't even think the weapon matters. It's more for flavor. So this is kind of like a very flavorful game with our Snap, Crackle, Pop. And even though like Rice Krispies really don't have any flavor, but this is like more like Frosted Flakes. It brings out the tiger in you. They're great. I bet that popped my mic when I said that. We're going to skip all this. These are all of our different like classes. Okay, no, we're not, because I'm excited. We're going to talk about them real quick, because I don't know what class I'm going to play. So typically we have the armed, which they're armed with an extra arm, like Doc Ock -4. Is that how math works? So you basically see everybody has an exploration score and a combat score. So when you're exploring, I think all this means is you draw 3 cards. When you're in combat, you draw 4 cards. There is the followed. I was thinking about this one because they have like a little like rook dog, basically. I really do like that idea. They draw 5 cards, so they're really good with their little rook searching around, but not too good at the combat. I think I may want like a 4 and 4. Let's see if we can find that. The helmed, that means this one already got a piece of rook and they're wearing it on their head, and it's helpful. Not too good at exploring, probably because they can't freaking see, but their combat's pretty darn good. But that's kind of how you upgrade your characters. You get all these pieces from these rooks. We have the mounted, really good at exploration, not so much at the combat. It looks like they're one of those wonky things. I think they first showed up, in my memory, when they were on Endor. If the Ewoks can take out your things pretty easily, it's probably not the best at combat. And I think this is following suit. Was it ATST? Is that what it was? I don't know. That's what that reminds me of. And then we have the allied, which is 2 characters. They're a little pigeon-toed, and they're wearing their Crocs. This guy's got this like shaggy thing going on. I was like, oh, Scoob. The Bastion. Oh, this is a class. What is this? Very recent surprising discovery. They're the only person-sized rook constructs in Colossal. Oh, well, that's kind of fun. It's like Tom Servo from Mystery Science Theater 3000. If you know that reference, please leave a comment, just so I know I'm not alone. All right, exploration. So basically on our turn, when you explore, we are going to draw the same amount of cards basically as our explore score. And then we are going to check those cards on this little sheet here. And it'll tell us, for instance, if we draw the 4 of hearts, trustworthy. A person you meet asks you to find something for them. Maybe they have lost something. Are they too afraid to get it? Draw a card and check on the item table. So then we would just draw another card. We would go to the item table. We would see what that is. Now, what we need to do in this game, though, is for our exploration phase, we're going to draw X amount of cards. So say our exploration score was 3. We would draw 3 cards. We kind of like learn what the prompt is for all 3 of them. And then we kind of like create the story of what happens. Now, it is possible we draw a combat. And you can draw like, say we draw 3 combats. It doesn't mean we have to do 3 combats. We still only do 1 combat. A queen is a medium rook, and then the king is a massive rook. And you can even like go inside of them and fight them, like from the inside. I think of like Baba Yaga's hut kind of thing. Same thing for the events. We would just draw some cards and do what it says. Oh, look at that. He's got a little hat. Look at this artwork. So there is a town. There's like some main town. Is it called Parapet? I don't know. But there is this like town, and they're all basically built out of rooks that have been destroyed. So you can see this guy's driving his little rookmobile drawn by the little rook horse. And there's like little rook arms and stuff like that. Everybody relies on this like discarded scrap that was collected from killing these things. So you can go into town, and there's like a really fun like generating system to like create a town. I wonder if it's right here, building the city. There you go. Particular buildings will always be there. There'll always be like an inn or something like where you can get like rumors to find out where other rooks are. It's like, because there's like Old Man Withers, another Scooby-Doo reference. Like, ooh, you're looking for a rook, eh? Out there past the waterfall in the swamp, you'll find one. He's kind of a pirate. So some other things that we can get here as well. There are twists, which always just kind of puts a little wrinkle into your events and stuff like that. Like, for instance, if we draw number 7, a rook has planted itself in a river and blocks the flow of water. So like maybe like their water supply is low. It's like, well, there's this freaking rook just sitting there. It's probably a massive one just based off of that fact. And it's like, we'll go get it and die. Then you find out like how far away it is. So then we would draw like a distance from the city, and it would be like, if we draw a spade, it would be 2 exploration phases. So we would draw like, again, if we had an exploration score of 3, we would draw 3 cards. We'd finish that one. We'd do it again. And that would basically be our second exploration phase. And the rook's there stuck in the dam and we smite it. Look at this. It's like a little kennel for the baby rook things that you can like make your little pet. It's like a bartering system. I don't think there's money in this game. You just kind of trade your things. So you're constantly going to be getting items. And a lot of the time, they're not going to be the item you want. So you can go back to town and trade them in. You can heal. And another good thing is you can fast travel. But I think you have to be a resident of the city. So once you like go way out and slay the rook, you don't have to walk back in. If you're a resident, you can fast travel somehow. Otherwise, you have to painstakingly walk back and draw cards. Merchants, some of the fun things you can get. Look at that artwork, man. What a jerk. So for combat, our opponent can either be a rook or it could be like a person. We draw a card. If it's, let's say it is the 4 of hearts, it means they are ranged weaponry and they are trying to flee from me. So that's just kind of tells us what their jam is. So they could also be trying to kill me if it was a spade. So that's good to know. And again, the weapon is just flavor. There's no grid or anything like that. It just helps you like create your story that you're trying to tell. Oh, here we go. A medium rook is the size of a car or a small building, and a massive rook is the size of a large house up to a huge building. And again, you can go inside the things, and there's some rules for that. There's 3 different kind of magic types in this world. There's electric, there's rumble, which is, I guess, like the ground shaking, like kind of earthquake, and then there's ice. Ice baby. So fighting is a neat little system, and it's not like overly complex. You can add some complexity to it, but you can see right here where it says combat score for a person is 1, for a medium rook is 3, for a massive rook it's 5. But the best way I can put it is, so say we're fighting a medium rook. They would draw 3 cards, and I think they're like face down. So let's just say we had a combat score of 3 as well. So we would have 3 cards. Now we can look at our cards. We lay them out in front of us and we see what the values are. So basically the gist is the rook will flip over its first card, and then looking at our hand of cards, of our 3 cards in this example, we want to basically beat that card. So if it's like a 5, we want a 6 or above. We play that, hooray, we've won one of our matches against it. Then it's going to happen 2 more times, and we basically want to get 2 out of 3 of those in that example. If there's 5 of them, we want to get 3 out of 5. It's kind of like this weird little push-pull because we don't quite know what cards they have. So if they hit us, like if we can't best the card that they flipped, then we take a wound. And when you take a wound, you basically knock down either your combat score or your exploration score. When one of those tracks equals 0, that's game over. Critical hits. If your counterattack beats the incoming attack and is the same suit. So if like, let's say they play a 5 of clubs and then we play a 6 of clubs, we do a critical hit. And what that does is it decreases their remaining attacks. So then if they played like a 10, it would equal a 9 going forward. So that's how that works. And I think you can always kind of run away as well. I don't think you're forced to do combat. You can run away. Here's like the interior of like one of these bad boys looks like. So you could be like hopping around in between the rooms. We have these different terrain types. And then when you're in these, like the ocean, when you're in the ocean, you would draw from the ocean encounter table to tell you what you find there. There's also this Arctic tundra area right here, which is called the Tundroom. I'm always a big nerd for plays on words, so I'll take it. Oh yeah, this is the sun. It's just this brazier hanging up above the world and gets a little dark at night. So that's actually what the sun is. There are these rafters, that's where the gargoyles are, hanging out with Quasimodo. So depending on the terrain you're in, you would draw cards on these specific tables, and they'll tell you what you find there. The crackways. That is like these kind of like little cave system in between rooms and worlds and stuff like that. Oh, you made it on top. Well done. So the battlement is obviously on top. And then the character class, the Within. This is kind of like, it's not like the game end, but this is like you've done a good job. You got this thing. And as you can see, it's doing pretty well for itself with that 5 and 6. Some of the other biomes: desert, swamp, forest, and mountains, ocean, tundra, jungle, plains, and rocklands. Hooray, I was correct. See, I did read this book. The Great City of Parapet. I'm not going to start there. I always just like my humble adventuring beginnings. Here's like the layout of parapet right here. And it just kind of talks about like all the fun little procedurally generated areas you can put within it. Here's a rook home, so you can get a rook home for your character, so they can live in basically the husk of a dead rook. And they have the oracle table. If you have a question, just ask the stupid oracle table. It'll be like, does this guy like me? And you just draw a card and it'll say yes or no, or no but yes and. Name generator, which I always love because I just can't. You know what? Let's do it right now. Let's generate a character's name. Let's do it, because we're getting close to character creation. I'm getting itchy. I'm going to actually use this as my character's name. So we have the Jack of Hearts. I am Tara. Okay, I'm going to be Tara. Now I know. Knowing is half the battle. The other half is murder. So this helps as well. It's like, okay, what am I trying to do? Like, what is my starting quest? What do I need to do? If I hear a rumor, and then I would just draw these cards. And like, if I drew that Jack, for instance, it would be defeat let's say it's a 5, someone experimenting with rook stones. So I would need to go there. Maybe they're like making a bomb or something like that. So I need to go and defeat them. But there is a twist. Let's just say it's a 10. And then someone reveals their true identity. And it's like, in fact, it is, ooh, it could be one of those rooks. Remember, like we saw like the little C-3PO rooks that were coming to life, the Tom Servos? Maybe it's one of those. So like we have to go and stop him, which makes sense because we're killing his kin. And so he wants to just blow everyone else up. There we go. It just kind of makes it up, and you just got to connect the dots in whatever way sounds fun to you. There's some 2-player information and resource tables. And this is the guided solo campaign adventure right here. The search for the sea stone. I think I'm just going to randomly do mine, just because if I'm going to fail, I want to fail big. Okay, let's make a character. Thankfully, the hardest part is already taken care of. We know our character's name, Tara. Actually, let's do our calling and a nature, and maybe that'll kind of dictate what class we are. So our calling, let's draw another card here, will be a 10 of diamonds. That means, as a child, your mother used to tell you stories of warriors with diamond skin, morphine weapons of magma and obsidian blades that never dulled. Their powers came from the fabled rook stones, ancient, one-of-a-kind stones, hundreds of them, made of a different rock, crystal, or gem, and each holding a unique magical power. It wasn't true, of course. There are only 3 kinds of rook stones: ice, shock, and rumble. And all rooks have one of these. Everybody knows that. But now, as an adult, you know a little more, and you're a little wiser to the world. And you know that stories like that don't exist without a grain of truth. What if the legendary rook stones actually exist? So there's our calling, Magma Mom. Okay, so we are a magma hunter from stories told from our mom about finding this magma thing. Okay, so that's pretty good. That makes a lot of sense. And our nature. Let's draw another one. Let's see what this is going to tell us. Yeah. 4 of hearts. Impatient, quick to anger, and grumpy. Okay. This kind of makes sense, though. So we've got some fire connection here. So we've got impatient, quick to anger, grumpy. So these are all like kind of like fire signs and fire symbols. So maybe our mother is like claiming that we are ancestors that like lived among these fire rooks or something like that. And maybe like we're the last of our line, because it says a mother. It doesn't mention the father. So maybe the father's out of the picture, and I want to just find out more of who we are and where we came from. Impatient, quick to anger, and grumpy, okay? I'm just going to put fire. So I'm probably a redhead too. A fiery redhead. And then here we go. Here's my class. The armed. So the armed quite literally have an arm from a rook connected to them. I think that gives us like an extra weapon. They're a warrior class. It can also like hold other items. This other arm can as well. So we can like be carrying more things with us. That's pretty fun. And we are fiery. The followed. The followed have a small rook companion, which I like a pet or familiar that follows our commands. These rooklings are found in the cores of other larger rooks. As yet, it is not known why. The sentience akin to that of a dog. Excellent rangers, pathfinders, and navigators. The helmed. The helmed harvest a piece of strange machinery from the very core of a rook. Using rituals and real working understandings of the crystal patterns and stones, they're able to create a helm that can be worn and operated, granting the magical abilities of the rook it was harvested from. Okay, the mounted, nah. And then the 2 ding-dongs. Oh. Or I could just be the Bastion. And maybe my mother was telling us that we came from these. Oh, we're totally doing this. We can't explore for crap because we're so clanky. But yeah. And I get to be Tara Servo. So I'm sticking with my mystery science, and we are trying to find our kinfolk, and we're fiery. The Bastions are very recent, surprising discovery. We are met with fear and distrust, which makes sense. And so which it also makes sense we're trying to find like where we came from. Yeah, I'm liking this. Most notably, they can speak and seem to be alive and sentient. Okay. Character traits. They originated from inside colossal rooks, which are the largest of all of them. They're incredibly rare. And the general, is that my mom? I don't know. Who cares? I mean, it's also like our story. Like this stuff isn't set in stone, no pun intended. There are still a few of the colossal rooks roaming around, but most are extinct. The great city of Parapet. Remember that big city I showed that was a colossal rook? That's how big it is. It's a freaking city. Bastions are the immune system of the colossal rooks. They take on the characteristics. So again, maybe we do have this like fire core to us, and I'm fiery, and maybe my mom's quick to temper as well. We're mercurial. What happened to the colossal rooks is a mystery, and it seems that many of the bastions, which is what I am, don't even know themselves, but they have subsequently decided to adventure out beyond their host's body and discover the roomlands for themselves. So it sounds like me and my mom may have fled our rook thing. A relatively new discovery for the people of Colostle, and due to looking exactly like the monsters that terrorize the homes and lands of Roomlanders, bastions are not treated with much respect or kindness. To create your bastion character, have a look at the prompts below and use some of them to inform your character of why they're headed out in search of adventure. I know exactly why I'm headed out, baby. Does your character come from a place friendly to bastions? No. I'm going to say me and my mom are probably on our own. We don't even have a village. Maybe there is a place where they've seen us and we've helped out a little bit in the past. So we just don't live there, but we would be welcome there. I'm just saying that because I know I'm going to need some kind of like hub. Maybe it's a bastion hub. That'd be kind of fun, right? Like there's like, let's draw a card. There are, ooh, king. That's good. So that would be, oh man, I got to do math. 10, jack, queen, king. 13. Oh, that's a good number. So I come from a hub of 13 bastions. Does your bastion want to trek out and find others of its kind and perhaps the colossi rook body? Yes, it does. Does your bastion character come from a colony of other bastions? Yeah, look at that. Come on, we figured all this out so quick. We're so smart. And in which case, what is that life like and why would they want to leave? Let's say that there's hunters, like jerk-face human hunters that are like killing us or like taking us for like the little like rook puppies. We're not rook puppies. We're a little bit more advanced than like the rook puppies. I can't remember what they're called. And let's say it is not my mom. It's just someone who took me in though. So like when I escaped from my rook or whatever, I view her to the best of my abilities as a motherly figure. All we got to quickly do now is just kind of fill in like our score, which is we have an exploration of 2, which makes sense that we're not great at exploring things because again, we're kind of new to this. Like we've been inside of a colossal, I mean, we may be 500 years old for all I know. I don't know, but we're probably a little clanky. So yeah, we're just not super great at this, but we're pretty good at combat. I do like that. There we go. I just gave us a combat score of 4 and an exploration score of 2. All right, so we're just filling out the rest of this sheet here. We are a bastion is our class. We have an exploration score of 2 and a combat score of 4. And I think I need to get a weapon. Oh, do we draw a card for a weapon? Let's see. Finally, a weapon. This can be anything you imagine. It could be a sword, an axe, a catapult, nunchucks, a spiked mace, or a hand cannon. Oh, that's kind of fun. Currently, I'm thinking of, it's such a cartoon thing where the cartoon character, like their little like pinky flips up and there's like a little gun and like shoots. So this like little pea shooter thing, or like Edward Scissorhand kind of fingers. That's kind of another kind of good one. Or like, oh man. Ooh, what would I want? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have like a big, like Kingdom Hearts sword, like the key sword or whatever it is. And maybe that is what unlocks, at least what my mother tells me, that is what will unlock the remains of our progenitor fire rook person thing. Oh, dude. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting pretty stoked about this. Okay, that's it. Characters built. We are ready to get rocking. We know what our background is. We know what our weapon is. We know why we're here and what we're doing. So, just to reiterate what this game is, it's a pretty simple combat system. It's part exploration, part journaling, part map making, and with a very simple oracle system that'll just kind of like help you just kind of get the engines working here. So, that's it for this episode. Expect the next episode to be out in just a couple of days where I just show you the gameplay loop. We'll do at least one exploration and kind of generate maybe our little bastion town, and we'll just talk to some people and get a little bit of information, maybe some rumors. We'll head out into the wilderness, see if we get into a combat or not. And then we'll have at least one more episode where I just kind of like, I just put on my glasses and I go for my Avery After Dork, when that episode just allows me to play the game after I've taught it to you and taught it to me. And then it just kind of lets me have some fun. So thank you so much for watching this. Please, please, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm still a new channel. It really helps. And there's also like some other button you can hit too, like hype. That'd be cool. I don't even really know what it does, but it helps. So I'd appreciate that. You can find it. It's down there somewhere. I don't know. So anyway, that's it. This has been Colossal by Nick Hesba, and I am Avery with Alone in the Dork. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay dorky, my friends.